So we're going to talk today about career wellness. It's been a very challenging number of weeks for all of us. So I thought the best topic we could do right now is just to talk about that wellness piece, how we're doing, and how maybe we can do a little better in the weeks ahead. I'm going to screen share, so there will be definitely time to ask questions. But what I'd like to do is just move you in to the presentation. So let me set that up. Can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, Wendy. All right. So in terms of what we're going to talk about today with our wellness piece here, we've got just a few goals. So first and foremost, I want to talk about the concept of career wellness and how it's connected to your career development, to your search, wherever you are in the process. I think if I were to ask everybody to define career wellness, it might not be the easiest thing to do. So we're going to start with the basics. I also want to identify strategies and resources to help boost your career wellness. We have no shortage of those available through Framingham State Career Services. So we'll talk specifically about those. And then I also want to talk about ways to integrate your career and personal wellness in a way in which you can improve your productivity and success. Remote work, which we're all doing right now, is wonderful, but it's draining. And I think being able to kind of look at the next weeks ahead in terms of what we have to do and accomplish, and maybe work in a way that might be smarter and more restorative is really what we need right now. Okay, oops, sorry about that. All right, so a little bit about me. I wanted to share a little bit about my background and why this topic is so important to me. First and foremost, I'm a career counselor. I've been doing that for many, many years, and it's definitely a passion of mine. But I also work with a range of folks within that career space, not just students, but also people who might be in transition. So maybe they've worked 5, 10, 20 years, and they're finding themselves in a situation where they need to find a new position. There's been a lot of that lately, certainly with the pandemic and what's been happening to companies. So I do spend a lot of my time helping folks who are in a transition period, figuring out their next steps and being able to land into a new role. I also have a lot of experience as a senior executive function coach. And executive functions are those tools, those areas which help us manage our time, approach our work. It has to do with memory, multitasking, basically the things we need to be successful. So I'm kind of taking an interdisciplinary approach to career development and wellness and applying what I think are best practices and things that I know clients have said have been helpful over the years. So let's talk a little bit about wellness. There's 7 dimensions and they're all integrated. Some of them might seem more obvious than others. When you think about these different dimensions, specifically talking about physical, for example, your physical wellness has to do with making choices and avoiding harmful habits. They're going to support your physical body, your health, and your safety. So people think of sleeping, eating, medical care, exercise. These are all really important parts of our well-being. So is the social. Social is the quality of our relationships, how you interact with others. Intellectual. Intellectual wellness is when you're engaging in creative and mentally stimulating activities to expand your knowledge, maybe share your knowledge with others. This could be your college studies, it could be cultural engagement, it could be artistic pursuits that you have going on. Emotional wellness. So this is how you understand your feelings and express them in a constructive way. I know that's been certainly challenging lately as we go through the pandemic and how we're approaching everything. So you can see already how these dimensions certainly integrate and affect one another. Spiritual. This is having beliefs or values that provide a sense of meaning to your life. It's connecting to something bigger than yourself. Environmental. Environmental wellness, that might be a new one for people to think about. This is considering the interactions between your environment and community and yourself. So that could be the natural environment when we think of recycling and how we take care of our space, the world around us. I'm going to also include social environment in this as well, in terms of that networking piece. You know, what you're putting into your body in terms of what you're viewing, how you're interacting with people in the online environment. That's pretty important too. And then the one we're really going to talk about today is the occupational. That's the biggie. So when we think of that whole occupational piece, we're talking about career wellness, finding fulfillment from your work and study, contributing meaningfully, and continuing to expand your skills and strengths. Occupational wellness is relevant throughout our lives, so it encompasses when you're studying, through your paid work, and your volunteerism. So career wellness is not just your job, it's your life. And it has to do with all those components that go into you finding fulfillment from your work. So why does it matter? Well, it's a pretty big deal. Our work plays a big role in our lives. It's our interests, it's our skills, it's our strengths, it's putting together this life. When I'm working with clients and outplacement that I mentioned earlier, I talk about life design. How can you take this transition and design a life where this wellness piece is going to be a part of it? You want to create and maintain a positive relationship with your work so that it can enhance the other dimensions of your life too. So if we go back to those 7 dimensions, the emotional piece, dealing with your feelings, the physical piece, how you physically are taking care of yourself. Your job can have a lot to do with that, and vice versa. And then career wellness overall helps us strive to meet our potential wherever we are in the process. And again, I want to make sure that you know this wellness piece happens in college while you're studying, when you're launching your career, and even well into periods of transition. Okay, so what does it look like? If you're healthy career-wise, how would you know? Well, basically, you're going to be doing work that you find motivating and interesting. That would be the first thing that you can say about being in a healthy place. You also will understand how to balance relaxing activities with work, and that's probably the biggest challenge for most of us. I'm not a fan of the word balance. I think you can have integration. You can integrate your life with what you do. I think there's tugs now and then. You may have things going on with your life that demand more attention, some urgencies, and likewise, sometimes the work ramps up. But being able to have both, integrating both, that's really the goal in a healthy career wellness situation. Work in a way that fits into your personal learning style. Are you hands-on? Do you want to be working in a helping capacity, one-on-one with others? Are you working with ideas and data? Are you collaborating with others? That's all part of your personal learning style, and ideally what's in a healthy work wellness situation for you. Communicating and collaborating with others. Well, even if you're working with ideas and data, you still have to be able to communicate and collaborate effectively with others. Working independently, working with others, that's part of the wellness piece. Feeling inspired and challenged, certainly the ability to get up every morning with some excitement about what you're doing, and then feeling good at the end of the day about the work that you've accomplished. That's what career wellness looks like. Do we have that all the time, every day? No, it's a lifelong process, but this is what we're shooting for. So we have some challenging times going on. I mentioned the remote work that we're doing, which can be draining. I think the uncertainty of the future can make things draining. If you are a student going through your studies, am I picking the right major? Am I going about this the right way? Thinking about the future. If you're launching a career, looking for a job right now, are there going to be jobs out there that are available for me? If you're in transition, if maybe you're thinking about making a change, the career wellness piece is huge. So let's talk about the dimensions and some of the healthy wellness aspects. Career wellness target number 1, doing work that you find motivating and interesting. Well, this is an easy one because at Framingham State, we have a ton of resources. First and foremost, one of the best things you can do to increase your wellness is to increase your skills and knowledge to advance your wellness goals. So that's using our resources, everything from attending virtual career events and employer showcases to help build your confidence and develop your networking skills, using things like Handshake to explore internship or career opportunities, and then pursuing informational interviews with alumni and hiring organizations. Now, none of that has to happen by itself. staff are here all week long to help you prepare and have those conversations about each of these areas. So first and foremost, a great career wellness target right now is to help find the work that you find motivating and interesting, and we can help you do that from a simple conversation in terms of thinking about what you'd like to do to coming up with plans to make that happen. Speaking of which, writing out your goals and creating a plan to work them and working them is really important. It's one thing to have everything going on in our heads in terms of what we want to do, but once we start talking about it and writing it down, we crystallize that. It's much more likely to happen. So one amazing thing you could be doing right now is saying, all right, I'm going to commit myself to increasing my career wellness, and I'm going to start putting on paper, what is it I'm hoping to do? I'm going to reach out to those resources that I know are available to me to start making this happen. Career wellness target number 2, communicating and collaborating with others. It's draining when you're working from home all the time, working remotely, but creating connections or collaborating with coworkers, your peers, is everything right now. This is a significant strategy that you can use. I like to think of the teams that I work with remotely as being some of the happiest and most productive. And it's because we have to communicate really well with one another. We're very generous with information and resources. When things aren't working well online, we troubleshoot together. We share successes and we talk about some of the things that are challenging. So we're problem solving, sharing ideas. It doesn't have to all be work related though. It could be sharing milestones that are going on in personal lives. But good career wellness does have that connection. So think of ways in which maybe you can incorporate that more. And when the opportunity presents itself to collaborate, to share best practices or tips. I have groups that are looking for work, and they're sharing resources. They're talking about, I just talked to this company, they sounded fantastic. You might want to check them out as well. Everybody gets to be able to win together when these situations happen, and it's just an optimal wellness atmosphere. Feeling inspired and challenged. That can be tough right now. But I think it's really important that you work as if this pandemic wasn't happening. And I know that's a tall order. I'm asking a lot. But I really, really encourage you to do that. When it comes to making decisions right now, people aren't quite sure how to think too far out. But you need to think about your goals and not settle. You want to pursue opportunities that are going to allow you to leverage your strengths while aligning yourself with your long-term goals, that whole life design. So stay motivated to the work and work towards what you want. Don't give up on those goals. And if you need help formulating those goals, that's why career counselors are here for you. Career wellness number 4, feeling good at the end of the day about the work you accomplished. That's a big one. Finding the benefits and positives in your current job. It can be challenging when you're having to learn a lot of new stuff all at once. If you are doing a lot of that remote work, there's a lot of trial and error with technology. There can be challenges trying to get people on board, everybody in the same place at once. But it's really important that you also focus on some of those wins. So thinking about the positives that are going on right now in your current work, in your current studies is an important practice. Also thinking about your executive function skills. I mentioned them before. We're gonna talk a little bit more about those, but I think it's important to work smarter and not harder right now. I know it feels like I'm putting in a ton more time working remotely because there's so much you have to set up on the back end versus just being able to go into an office and meet with people. But the bottom line is, once you develop these skills, you can certainly get better and better. Sorry about that, I had a little pop-up here. Executive function skills can be built throughout this time, even though we might be feeling definitely drained. Next one, career wellness target, understanding how to balance relaxing activities with work. So true fulfillment comes when we nurture all of our interests. I know a lot of time in career assessment we talk about, what is it you would like to do? What are the problems you want to solve? But the bottom line is there's a life we have outside of work too, and those interests need to be cultivated there. So pursuing the things you love to do, both at work and in your free time, is going to be able to give you that career wellness piece. It's looking at the big picture. How can what you do outside of work help recharge you for work and vice versa? All right. So those were just some quick ways in terms of thinking career wellness. But there's wellness upgrades overall. When we think about all the dimensions of your well-being, I wanted to come up with specific strategies that you can try to apply all throughout the month of May and perhaps during the summer. So in terms of where we're feeling now, if I think about myself and I think about a lot of the people that I'm talking to, we have moments where we're feeling depleted, stressed, overwhelmed, vulnerable, anxious, sad, scared. There's some good stuff in there too, but there's a lot of this right now. Where we want to be is feeling a little more rested. Staying home doesn't mean you get proper rest all the time. Feeling healthy, maybe some more calm, feeling stronger, maybe open to new things, feeling optimistic and hopeful. So in order to do that, you got to do some things differently. In order to boost your wellness, there's little things you can do, and it's not a big overhaul. This is sort of like a ripple effect you wanna build. You wanna kind of incorporate some habits that are going to help you build into that whole bigger piece overall. First and foremost, I'm thinking about occupational wellness. What can you do to have better results in that area, to feel better, perform better? But we also know this is also going to have an effect on the other areas as well. So one of the best tips, and everything I'm mentioning, I do myself. So I think it's important to walk my talk, and I'm absolutely doing that when I share these. Spend 15 minutes to pre-plan your day before you get into work mode. I do this the day before. So I'm old school, piece of paper, I write down the key things that need to be done. I don't have a 55-point plan of what Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on needs to look like. I just hit the big stuff. And I build in time where I'm not going to be working, taking a lunch break, going for a walk. I protect time for those things. So if you take a little bit of time, whether it's first thing in the morning or the night before, just pre-plan and use the system that's best for you. The tools that you create are always the best ones. For me, it's just pen and paper, and I like to write it down and have it as a guide throughout my day. And I'm a big fan of crossing something off once I achieve it. So I don't make it an overwhelming process, but I definitely set myself up for success by identifying what needs to be the priorities for each day. I also make sure, like I said, I recharge. And even if it's a 15-minute walk, I definitely try to do something that's going to help me. And that's different for everybody. So if it's going for a walk in nature, do that. If it's having a cup of tea or coffee, do that. Listening to music, even making a gratitude list. That's probably the thing I do the least, and I probably should do more. I'm more likely to go outside for a walk than to do my gratitude list. But when you're feeling super depleted, start with the strengths. Start with the wins. Kind of like when you're looking at a transcript and a student is so worried about a particular grade, and you say, but look at all those A's. Look at those B's. How did you get those? Start with your strengths, and then it's easier to build from there. So more back to planning and persisting. Do one thing this month that you've been putting off, knowing that you will feel amazing once you accomplish it. In the job search, that could be updating your resume, writing that cover letter you've been putting off, going into a new app. We keep talking about Handshake. You didn't set up your profile, getting that done. If you've done all of those things, maybe it's taking care of other things behind the scenes. Maybe it's cleaning out the garage, organizing your paperwork, cleaning your desk. Just do one thing that you've been putting off, but that you know once you're done with it, you're going to feel amazing. And then connecting. So we've been talking about collaborating with people, reaching out to somebody. I've put here, reach out to somebody you admire and schedule a chat. Think of the people that can help you at this point in your life. People maybe you don't know so well, but have been meaning to, maybe people who know you very well. But people nonetheless that you can talk about what it is you want to do, the work you're looking to do, the life you want to create. Now's a great time to have those conversations. Connect with people so they can know what you're looking for, and better yet, be another set of eyes and ears for you in that process. You are not in this alone, and I think that's probably the biggest thing. We always feel vulnerable when we're in a transition or stuck at home or launching a career. We feel like everything's on us to make it happen, but the bottom line is there's people power, and the people power are the most effective and efficient means. to help us reach our goals. So try to think of folks that you want to have a 15, 20-minute chat with, and talk about your goals and what it is you're hoping to do. And I'm sure getting their advice and input is going to be super inspiring and motivating for you. Okay, and then some more habits to build. So I'm going to talk really about executive functioning right now. You've heard me talk about putting things on paper. Thinking on paper versus keeping everything up here is going to free you. It's going to provide relief. It's going to be able to put everything down so that you can look at it a little more clinically. It's hard to be clinical with ourselves, but when we can put goals down on paper, don't judge yourself, just put them down on paper. You kind of get to see, you get to step away, and you can think of the steps that need to be taken. You can set deadlines. You can manage it. You can manage the expectations much more, and it takes a lot of the fear out. It feels very overwhelming when we're feeling everything that we want to do or feel we have to do. Putting it on paper breaks it down into more manageable pieces, and there is nothing better than crossing something off. So start trying some of those strategies to see if it gives you some of that inspiration and motivation and productivity. Posting your progress. So I'm going to encourage you to use social media in a way where you're going to hold yourself accountable, but you're also going to help people understand what you're doing and champion you along the way. So reward yourself for making headway. If you're putting out there, and maybe this is just a post that your family sees or close friends, okay? If you're putting out there that you're headed into a week where you're going to do some informational interviews or send out some applications, post about that. And when you've done it, post that you finished it. You're going to have people happy for you and cheering for you along the way. So do things that are going to connect you to people and at the same time boost your productivity. And then finally, automate. We've had to restart in a lot of ways. Systems that were never in place before, we had to furiously create them and make happen in short time. We're doing things differently. We're shifting a lot. And with that comes a lot of, I would say, draining feelings, but at the same time, feeling a little lost. You can feel more sure about your footing if you're helping to create some new rhythm and structure for yourself. So find systems and tools that work for you. If it's creating that schedule at the beginning of the day or the night before, that's a system or tool. If it's setting out what you need for meals early in the day, that counts. If it's checking your emails in the morning and responding to everybody that you need to get back to regarding maybe scheduling appointments or networking sessions, do that. But set up some rhythm and structure for yourself so that not only do you have something to look forward to, but you gain more confidence as you do it. You're mastering the work because you're setting up systems that support the way you like to do these things best. Okay, so that's it for the career wellness. I've covered a lot of different areas. This is just the beginning of the conversation. This is a lifelong process. So if there is anything that you wanted to talk about more, I would love to be able to set up an appointment to talk to you. Certainly any of our staff are fabulous at this. Please check out our events calendar so you can take advantage of those opportunities to enhance your career wellness. At the same time, our website has no shortage of resources if you want to do additional assessment. And then there's the hands-on stuff, getting the resume ready and the cover letters and everything else. So I'm happy to take questions if anybody has any right now. Otherwise, I look forward to hopefully having an appointment with you to talk some more.